How to delegate a project effectively. Projects fail when you delegate the outcome, but don't effectively lay out the process to get to the result. You can't fully delegate a project without also delegating the authority to get the project done. By the end of this video, you're going to know how to delegate entire projects without micromanaging or losing control. We were working with a builder, and this was a renovation builder in a historic district at a beautiful historic city in the United States. And so they were going through and they've got their process and all this. They decided to hand over authority to a cabinet maker in order to rip out and install all these brand new cabinets. So they went to the cabinet maker, no timeline, no budget, just, hey, this is what the client said that they wanted, and they just did it. It was a disaster. The whole thing was a disaster. Turns out it was over budget, it was over schedule, and you're like, well, how could it have been an over if it wasn't given? No. The client had expectations. The builder just never translated those expectations to the cabinet makers. So then we went back to the builder and said, hey, we're going to do something different this time. Before you just kind of scatter all of that chaos everywhere, because chaos is infectious, we're going to build some things out from a tool perspective that I want you to walk through. And sure enough, the next time that they had that cabinet person do the work, they were on time, they were on budget, and hit all their marks for what they needed to do. Why? It's because they mapped everything out. So that's what I'm going to walk you through so that you can properly delegate. You know, I mentioned micromanagement earlier as well, and I know it's kind of a buzzword, but I want to lay that out in a visual that I think will be very, very helpful for you. When we talk about micromanagement, I want you to think about a seesaw. I always like to think about like play toys, just fun for me. And so think about a seesaw. You got a seesaw on a fulcrum in the middle, and so you want one person on one side and one person hopefully of equal weight or value on the other side. And you seesaw back and forth. Well, in the world of healthy leadership, what we want is we want that seesaw to be balanced. We want it to be equal on both sides. And both sides are this: time and questions. And so if you ask the right questions at the right time, then you've got healthy leadership. But at any point you ask the wrong question at the right time, or the wrong time for the right question, then all of a sudden everything's out of whack. That's when you know you're getting into micromanagement. So if you ask for sales results from 15 years ago, but you do it during the sales meeting, that's micromanagement. It's the wrong question, but at the right time. But if you ask for last week's sales results, right question, but you do it on a Thursday night when everybody should be sleeping, wrong time, now that's micromanagement. We want to keep those in balance. So you can ask for last week's sales results at this week's sales meeting. And that's healthy leadership. Makes sense. You can certainly ask for that accountability around that. When we think about the issue of micromanagement, right question, right time. And if that's the case, now we need to work ourselves into delegation. So you have the right for healthy leadership, but in order to have that right for healthy leadership, you got to be able to delegate effectively. Okay, so we want to delegate a project. So instead of your ABCs, I want you to do your OBCs. That might be why I failed 9th grade English, by the way. So your OBCs go this way before we get to some of these tools: outcomes, boundaries, and the ultimate criteria, which is going to lead your accountability at that point. So before we delegate a project, we got to go, hey, this is the outcome that we're looking for. Here are the boundaries or the unique core values that you need to stay into. And a lot of times when we get into unique core values, we kind of do them wrong. We go, oh, I've got core values. What are they? Respect, integrity, responsibility. And you're like, yeah, those were Enron's core values before they stole everybody's money in 2001. I'm not talking about core values that like we should all have. Listen, if you don't have integrity, respect, excellence, then let's just not do business together, right? It's a low barrier to entry just to life. What I'm talking about are things that are unique to you. So at Business on Purpose, here are some of our values. Our work demonstrates faith, 85-15, 4 R's, feedback, ... and relentless learning. Most of those don't make any sense to you because they're core values for us. It's how we make decisions. They're the boundaries of decision making. So when I delegate authority to another team member, and don't get it in a place of micromanagement, but of healthy leadership, what I've done is I've clearly said, hey, here's the outcome that's expected, and here are the boundaries that you make decisions in. Now, that third element is the criteria via which things get done, and that's our process. So this is how we're going to launch in to delegation. We're going to delegate under the PTA methodology. First, we're going to identify the process. Then we're going to dive into training that process with repetition, predictability, and meaning. And then we're going to hold accountable. That goes back to that boundary and the outcome. So what we're holding accountable to is the boundary of decision making and the ultimate outcome of what we want to have happen from that project. So let me go back to my cabinet shop. If you're talking about cabinets, you go, hey, the ultimate outcome is to have these cabinets installed in this way, in this house, in this schedule, and in this budget. You got to give all those criteria there. So that's your outcome when you're laying that sort of thing out. So in order to do that, we've got to identify the process, we've got to train on that process, and we've got to hold them accountable to that outcome to make sure they're headed in the direction that they want to do. Now, we got to be able to scale this across multiple projects and multiple processes. So how do we do that? If we do one project or process by process it, train it, accountability, then we do multiple processes by understanding what those processes are. So we bring in what we call the master process roadmap. It's broken down into the 4 core systems of every business: marketing, sales, operations, and administration. We set a timer and we do a brain dump of all the tens, 20s, hundreds, thousands of processes that exist in every little business, from small to big. And we start with marketing because it goes in this order. Then we go to sales. Then we go to operations, then we go to administration and accounting. And so with these, we set our timer and just start mapping out all the individual processes it takes to do marketing. It takes to do sales, ops, admin. And so we've got this amazing list here that we want to start processing, training, and holding accountable. But a lot of times we struggle with delegating projects effectively because we don't have a rhythm for going back and reviewing those projects or training on those projects or whatever. So we're going to create what we call an anchor. So this is an anchor here. That's what we call it internally. The reason we call it an anchor, by the way, it's not a boat anchor. It's a climbing anchor. So you have an anchor at the top of a rock, and from that anchor, they call it a lead anchor, all the lead ropes come down from it. What happens if the anchor gets dislodged? Everybody dies. It's not good. And so this is our anchor, which all the other lead ropes come down from it. Our marketing, our sales, our operations, administration, and then our meetings. And so what this is it tells us the 52 weeks of the year. It's just on a spreadsheet. We do week 1, 2, 3, all the way through week 52. And then we do the ingredients that we want to install with repetition, predictability, and meaning. So these projects that you want to delegate, we've got to make sure that we're processing the project regularly, we're training the project regularly, and we're holding accountable regularly. So with your anchor, week 1, let's say this week is week 4 of the year, so we got to week 4, and we've got dots down here doing some marketing training, but also doing training around the project that we're focused on. And that way we've got focus around that project. Now, if you want to delegate your role as an owner, not just the project itself, but beyond the project into all the little processes that you do as an owner, then you're going to go to the delegation roadmap. And here's what you're going to do. You're going to use your master process roadmap as a cheat sheet. You'll think through, out of my role as an owner, all of these tasks down here, which are the ones that I'm involved in currently. And you just start listing them out. Every single one of them on here. Then second step is you'll identify how many minutes per week you devote to that one task. So let's say you do a task and it's not every week. It's every other week, every month, every quarter, every year. No problem. Take the amount of time you actually work on that in that quarter or in that month or in that year and subdivide it across the 52 weeks or the 12 weeks or whatever that you do. We want to get an average time per week and it can be amortized throughout the year, whatever you want to do. So you've got the task, you've got the time, then energy, up, down, or sideways. Does it give you energy? Does it suck the life out of you? Or is it kind of like, yeah, whatever, I don't mind. I can keep doing this. And then your delegatability. How delegatable is this task? Number 1, only you can do it. There should not be many of those. Number 2, you thought you were the only person that could do this, but after you listen to me talk, you're like, I think I could probably delegate that to somebody if I processed it, trained it, and held them accountable. And then a number 3 is I should have delegated this a long time ago. I just haven't. For whatever reason, it doesn't matter. No judgment here. This is a judgment-free zone from you delegating some of these processes. So we got the task, the time, the energy, and the delegatability of that thing. And so once we look at this list after we've done that, then we're going to pick the tasks that take the most time, that either are neutral or down, they suck the life out of us, and they're 2s or 3s, meaning we can delegate those things. And guess what we're going to do? We're going to package them up, and those become job roles to start processing, training, and holding people accountable so that we can do it all throughout the year. That's how you delegate a project effectively. List out all the processes, figure out what those processes support in projects, process it, train it, hold it accountable, do it every single week of the year with repetition, predictability, and meaning, and then align that with your job role so you know the things. And with this, what you'll start to do is you'll start to pass off the things, the objective task-oriented things that other team members to do so you can focus your time working on the strategic things of the business. What Michael Gerber said, working on it versus working in the business. Now, a lot of this hinges on having the right person. And so in order to do that, I want you to watch another video that I've created for you. Go click on the link in the description below. And that video is going to walk you step by step through how to find, hire, onboard, and retain great talent so that they're ready to receive the task that you want to delegate to them so that you can hold them accountable on a regular basis. Why? It's because many owners live their lives in chaos and they miss things in their life, and we don't want you to do that anymore. Our aim, our mission is to liberate you from chaos to make time for what matters most. So go click on that link in the description below and get started on that chaos liberation.